Hello, Nasty. Hello there.
Hello.
I say hello.
Hello, friend.
Well, hello, little girl. Hello, my treacherous friends.
Hello, operator.
The beginning of everything. Welcome back, my friends. It's showtime.
Hey everybody, it is episode 343 of The Brink of Sanity. I am Jay, and with me is Mark and Bri. How you doing, guys?
Are we
All
almost
right.
to the 300th special?
Almost. We're almost there.
Are we counting back down to one now because we're in the parallel universe? Or
Shh, Bri, we have to get to that.
Well,
No, we
let's-
don't have to get. Hang on, a quick question. What is the beginning of everything? What's that from?
That is a Brian Jonestown Massacre song.
Oh, okay. What's the song?
It is the opening song to the album Their Satanic Majesty's Second Request.
Okay, just curious. I like that line, that little cut.
It's a really good song.
Bri, so tell us about this alternative universe.
well, I'll tell you, but time's going backwards, so you'll just forget.
Explain, Bri.
Oh, well, Jay's the one that found it, so
Jay, explain. Someone explain. Holy crap.
Basically, they found particles near Antarctica that they think are moving basically backwards in time.
They
So-
as in scientists or
Yeah,
just like
scientists.
friends down the street.
just Joe.
Your neighbor who makes a lot of noise also found particles.
Yes, the scientists think they found a parallel universe with particles moving in the opposite direction of time.
does
So-
anyone know how we could get there? Because I'd really like to get out of this universe.
I would.
I think that was. I remember in the article that was kind of the gist of the story. Like maybe like that would be great if we could go backwards because this time sucks. So apparently, like the particles basically are like they're in a world that's like, oh my god, the world's so terrible, and suddenly the world's gonna get really good for them.
So I'm assuming if they do test runs, Bry's signing up immediately because he doesn't care
Yes.
about the consequences.
Yes.
So if you do it and you end up in like 2010, can you just warn me about my neighbors before I sign
I'll
the
warn
lease?
you about everything.
Okay.
Do you know what I found funny? So I don't know. I know the article said they're a science. So Men's XP. This is Jay sent us the article from something called Men's XP. I've never heard of the website until Jay mentioned it. Is this a website you go to a lot, Jay?
No, I saw it on the I Effin' Love Science Facebook page, and then I lost it. So I just Googled the description of what I saw, and that was the link that came up, and it was basically the same information. So
Okay. I mean, it looks like an online men's type magazine. I just thought what I found funny about it was this is if it's true that there's a parallel universe that we found that's going backwards, sounds like kind of big news, right?
yeah.
If you go to the homepage, kind of hard to find this story. The parallel universe buried down below. Lead story, how weightlifters can keep pumping iron amidst the lockdown. You scroll down, you're like, you scroll down, you find out there's fashion hacks for last-minute video calls. Okay, not there yet at the parallel universe. Here's how to keep your smartphone clean. Again, I guess a more important story than the parallel universe. Let's keep going down here.
Well, it was at the top of the page in the future, but since we're going back, it's getting farther down the page.
It is getting farther. There are so many. There might be. I've already passed like 30 different articles, including some guy called the handsome badass cop from Padel Lock has an impeccable style aesthetic. An article about 4 stylish ways to wear your summer jackets, more important than the other universe. Mike Tyson transformation from alcoholic and drug addict to absolute beast is incredible. Of course, that won't look so good when he goes back in time.
Well, if you want the secret, I'll tell you what the parallel universe is all about.
I just find it funny, all these articles that like how Vince McMahon forced The Undertaker to lose against Lesnar and ended his WrestleMania streak. How he forced him to lose. He wrote the script. I don't, what's that forced him to lose?
Well, let's hear the secret, Brian.
The parallel universe only goes back to November 8th, 2016, and then it loops back forward to January 20th, 2021. And it's just a loop of the 4 years of Trump. Just so you just like, oh, it's getting better. It's getting worse. Oh, it's getting better. Oh, it's getting worse. And it's just like an endless loop of that.
That
that's
would be
fun.
that would probably be I assume that's what hell is like. I don't know. Just keep being like, well, maybe Trump's president won't be so bad. Oh my god, it's awful. Wait, I'm back.
Speaking of hell, I have a serious question about hell. Can hell be any worse than being in the United States of America in the year 2020? I mean, I think I would take my chances in hell at this point.
Yeah, what if they've overblown what hell is? We already know what this is, and it's really bad.
I mean, it's insanity out there.
It is.
They say in hell, just to let you guys know, in hell you can actually like shake each other's hands without dying. You don't have to. There's no spacing in hell. But I finally got to the technology section, all the way down, and the lead story again, not about the parallel universe, but about something about Google and Apple's contact tracing app. So I'm thinking this story is not that true about the parallel universe, as at least Men's XP does not think it's a very important story.
Well, it's
we all
probably
know,
an anti-science magazine. So.
yeah, we all know the
Maybe.
legitimacy of Men's XP.
Yeah. No, they are cutting edge. Men's XP at no point told me any fake news.
Is there anything in that webpage about banning meat?
Bry, do you want to go on with your next story?
Well, I just like to stand up and take a little bow here. I usually don't like to pat myself on the back, but it turns out I was right. They are starting to.
Right. Do you not like to pat yourself on the back?
Well, I'm usually never right about things, so I never usually pat myself on the back.
Okay, I mean, I would say Jay, maybe you too, enjoy when you're right about something. So, but go on.
Oh, I do. I'm just never right about anything.
I always think
that-
funny when people say I don't like to pat myself on the back. When people are like, "Yeah, you do. You're fucking lying about this part."
Right, you were right about cell phones destroying society.
Well, that's true. I was, but I didn't realize that till like a week ago.
What's worse for society, Facebook or the COVID virus?
It's not even Facebook anymore. It's Twitter. Twitter is just like
Social
can't even go on there anymore.
social media or coronavirus?
I would take my chances with coronavirus.
Internet or coronavirus?
Coronavirus.
Coronavirus is worse or better?
I'll take my chances with coronavirus.
Okay,
All right.
Jay, so tell us about the why you are correct about fake meat. Go, bro.
There was an article. I think it was an op-ed in
Op-ed,
the New York Times today, and basically how the pandemic is leaning towards getting rid of meat because I don't really know why. Something about poor people or something. I don't know.
Did you just read the headline and not read?
No,
anything
I read the article, but that was like 10 hours ago, so I don't really remember what it said.
We're getting close to bedtime, so memory's getting a little foggy.
Yeah, it was about like, I don't know, putting too much pressure on poor people who work in the factories and are sick and they're coughing on the meat and we're all getting sick or something. I don't know.
So, I mean, the article was basically not like, it wasn't that it's going away. It's that they were making the case that it is inhumane to eat animals because of what the toll it takes on society. Because we have all the poor society who's working in these factories that are very unsafe. They're getting sick, and they're doing it just so they can feed you this meat that's not even that good for you. That was the gist of the article.
Right.
Sounds like Mark read the article.
And that we'd be better off without it. I read the article.
With someone in the one of the comments, actually, I was reading some of the comments. Someone made a good point. They're like, you want us to go to vegetables, like, totally understand, but like all the pesticides and everything, like those are really bad for us also. It's not necessarily like there are plenty of like smaller farms that like are just humane to their animals. It's really just big agriculture, big farming is the issue, not like you're misdirecting basically the argument. Basically, he was just saying like plants, animals, everything's fine. Everything on a larger scale gets corrupted and like harms people.
Yeah, big everything ruins everything.
Not Big J. He's running for president.
That's why our podcast hasn't sold out yet. We haven't got big enough to ruin it.
Did I tell you
we're
guys,
not Joe Rogan on Spotify.
We got
are
so
not
many
Joe
offers, but I wanted to keep the integrity of Brink, so I've turned down all offers.
Yes. Well, Jay, you know that Joe Rogan has accepted $100 million from Spotify to exclusively produce spot content for Spotify. Where is our offer, and what's our share, Jay?
I'm waiting for the $100 million offer.
Well, then we have to do 4-hour shows every day, and I'm not doing that. So
and talk about nothing but CBD.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. What salary would you just do this show 4 hours a day? Let's just say forget how much you are earning currently. If you got an offer at that salary to just do this show 4 hours a day, that's your whole job, would you say yes?
No.
You hate the show that much. You prefer your job more than this job.
I just don't want to do it for 4 hours.
Okay, we're going to give you double your salary. You are now living large. Are you going to take it? Do 4 hours a day?
No.
Wow. How do you even do the 1 hour with us a week?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I could barely get through 1 hour. Well, all right. Is it going to start at 9 o'clock at night, or can we do it at like a normal people hours?
If it was a real job for me, then we could just do it during normal hours.
So how come your kids can be quiet during normal hours? I think we just
if
caught
it's a fucking job, I could fucking I could. It'll be fine. If the fucking
so you
job,
hate the show this much that you can't consider it a job. I see.
Jay. So I'm going to make a similar question to you. We're going to cut your salary in half. Would you do this? This is your full-time job, 4 hours a day. Cut your salary in half.
I couldn't afford to live, but
No, Jay, we're gonna kill your upstairs and downstairs neighbors. Will you do it for 4 hours a day?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we will murder your neighbors. Okay, you can do this show from your goddamn house in the middle of like rural Pennsylvania that you want. Are you going to do it?
Yeah.
Half your salary.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Only 5 days a week, though, right? Not 7.
No, I'm not a masochist.
Okay.
Okay. What if we keep you at your current salary, but you have to have the coronavirus the entire time?
No.
You don't really love the podcast, then, huh?
I think we've just proved that we all hate it.
Jay, would you rather get coronavirus or have the hiccups? Or have the hiccups for 3 straight months?
Probably the virus.
Bri? Well, Bri, no, Bri's going to take the virus.
Jay, would you rather get coronavirus or go to hell, and hell consists of Mark asking you would you rather questions for eternity?
Oh, my God.
I'm pretty sure also if I had said, Bri, would you rather get coronavirus or have an ice cream cone, he would have chosen coronavirus.
Probably.
They just go different ways on these ideas. So Jay, are we going to get I guess $100 million would be a 9-figure offer. How many figures are we getting?
I mean, I think we would probably split it 45-45, and Bri would get 10.
What? See, that's what I was holding out because I wanted all of us to get 100 million.
So you would say, but are you doing percentage wise? So you're giving us, we each get 45% and Brian only gets 10%.
No. It would be split 3 ways. If we're all doing the show, we would all split it 3 ways.
And you call yourself an accountant.
What about our guest hosts? What is your buddy that did our show once from the office? What percentage does he get?
So maybe we take 30% each, and then we have like a budget for guests.
Or we just don't have any guests on.
I mean,
the money.
No. Not that I was a big listener of Rogan, but I listen to him once in a while. And now he's going to be once he goes to Spotify, he'll be out of my podcast. Like I won't just see his episodes anymore. I think I'll just stop listening to the show now that he'll be on Spotify.
I only listen to him if somebody I like is on there. I'll go out of my way to find it, but I don't listen to it regularly. It's too long.
It's so goddamn long.
Every time, even if it's somebody I like, after like an hour and a half, I'm like, hey, I'm pretty much done with this.
I listened to when Tom Green was on, and it was like 3.5 hours. I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
It's almost impossible for him to keep...
and he just always goes off on some random like stuff that like even the person he's interviewing is just like, what the fuck are you talking about? You know?
He's always like, that's interesting. You've been to space. Let's talk about deer hunting.
Yeah, like how does he still have things that he's never talked about?
I just don't understand like how he spends so much time talking about himself in every episode. You're like, this person that's on the show is really interesting. Ask them about their lives, please.
Yeah.
He somehow like if his interviews had to be an hour, they'd be so much better.
Yeah. That podcast that I said kind of inspired me to start Red Bar Radio. He does like 7-hour shows sometimes.
Is it as bad as I mean, Rogan's fine for. Is it bad as like the second hour of a Rogan interview?
It's worse. Yeah, I feel like it's like the first hour and a half is all like teasing what they're going to talk about, and then like it just never gets there, and then the show ends. It's like
So a show that was really long and boring inspired you to make this mess?
no. The show didn't used to be like that.
Oh.
The whole atmosphere of the show changed, and then I stopped listening.
Oh. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I don't really understand. Like the only thing I think is good on Rogan is when he has like a very interesting, like he had a couple people that are talking about the pandemic, and he just like lets them talk, and that stayed interesting longer just because I wanted to really learn about the topic,
Yeah.
what this guy thought. So he sometimes when he has experts on, he just lets them talk, which is good. But then he's like, interesting. Let's talk more about elk meat, and you're like, really?
Did you know I smoke a lot of weed?
He had some comedian on who I forget the name, but I really liked, and the guy had like a really interesting upbringing, and he just started talking about like some car, like some old time car, and he was asking him like, do you know this car, and blah blah blah, and I'm like, why the fuck are you talking about this car with this guy? And in the interview, this guy would just drop like random tidbits about growing up. They were like he grew up in New Orleans, and like just something interesting about it, and Rogan would just gloss over those tidbits and move on to something else that he found more interesting.
I got a question for you guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it looks like in our area, New York, Connecticut, the numbers are going down for the virus.
Yeah.
For now, the weather's getting nicer, so that might go right back up. But
yeah.
I hope so.
What if this just fizzles out? How obnoxious is the United States going to be?
If what?
If it just fizzles out, like if
so
the
you're
numbers
saying
just keep,
basically
this was it. This was it.
Can it be any more obnoxious than it is already?
Well, there's two sides to this. There's like there's a certain amount of people who think like we should all like lock down and stay locked down and be cautious about this. And then the assholes, there's a lot of America right now who's either being a loud asshole about it, like that would like we just need to go back to work, or just being like doing a lot more socializing than they should, like going to bars in Wisconsin and all that. You're saying how awful in some way would it be if they're all right?
Well, not if they're
there's two sides. You're either pro health or you're pro money. It comes down to that. Like you either are just like you want money, so you want to go back to work, or you want to just live and be healthy, so you want to just lay low for a little while.
If this went away right now, I would not say that they were right. I would say that all of the quarantining and stuff helped it go away quicker.
So first of all, just address what Bri said. I think there's a great. I mean, we're all in situations where like Bri, you're still employed, you're still making money. You can do your job. Well, you're going to your office because your company's idiotic. Jay, you're home. You're making money. You're still employed. If you lost your job,
no, I know. I know that
people are like struggling.
At it from a perspective. I know, but if you just listen to people's arguments, it's either like we got to open this up because we got to get back to work, or no, we need to keep people healthy. It's like those are the clashing. Like, there's no middle ground between that.
I think let's go to the person that we would hate the most to be right in some respect. If it turns out Donald Trump was just right that it's not that big of a deal, that would be so fucking annoying.
No, well, the problem is like what Jay just said. Like, if it turns out like the quarantine is working, there's really not like for people who don't pay attention and don't and thought this was all bullshit to begin with. There's no way to convince them that this worked.
Well, my point is that they're going to say it's a hoax.
Right. There's no way to prove, like, you can argue and be like, listen, we quarantined for 2 months. That's why the numbers are down. But they're just going to be like, no, the whole thing was bullshit. And we wasted 2 months of our lives.
No, you never see first of all, if Trump and all these people are right, that's great because fucking thing's a nightmare. But otherwise, just for the gloating aspect and like there's dicks, it would be, no one can see the alternative outcome that never happened. There was the whole thing of like last time with the bailout and Obama saying like they were like everything was shitty anyway and blah blah blah, and you never saw what would happen if Obama did do the bailout. Maybe things would have been a lot worse. You don't see that alternative.
Right.
So you don't see what things would have been like if you don't lock down. At the same time, like if the lockdown, which wasn't that long, kills the virus off, maybe the other side was right.
I'm just saying that if it turns out that it peaked and that was it, the people who said it's a hoax or whatever are going to be more emboldened. So if we ever do have another emergency, it's going to be even harder to get people to do the right thing because
I think it's going to make a comeback because people are because now that it's summer, people are just going to be like, "Fuck this! I'm going to the beach. I'm going to Six Flags. I'm going wherever." And people are stupid. They just are.
Well,
and and
I agree with you.
they're willfully ignorant, and they could give a shit about anybody else. And so that's for those reasons I think it's going to come back. Maybe not as bad, but I think there's going to be another wave.
It could be worse also. But
It could be.
The boy who cried wolf thing, which you're talking about, Jay, that's kind of I was listening to something about the World Health Organization and why they initially downplayed this, and they initially downplayed it in many respects because the previous ones, like the bird flu and the last, all these other ones, all these other like near pandemics that didn't really happen, like SARS and stuff, they had played some of them up saying they were really going to be bad. And then like other countries and everyone got really mad at them for playing these things up and being serious when some of them weren't as serious as expected. And so they almost downplayed this as a result of like the reaction they got for the previous ones.
So they put people's lives in danger because they were mad about being yelled at it on Twitter.
Not mad. I think it was more of a natural inclination not to play it up as much because you're not let's wait and see a little longer because we're concerned about because of the last time.
Because people were mean to us on Twitter, so
right.
No, but like countries were mean. I don't know. They were just saying basically it was like kind of because of the reactions they got other times where they told countries to prepare, and they prepared, and then they didn't need to prepare as much.
Oh, they were over prepared.
Yeah, but again, you're like, well, you guys made us spend all this money and do all these preparations. Nothing happened, and now we're annoyed because we don't see the alternative outcome.
Isn't that the most ignorant shit? Like, oh, we were over prepared and we didn't need to be. Like, okay.
You know what? I was listening to something about a hospital in South Carolina, which they had basically they did all these preparations for this big wave. The wave just never hit them with COVID, and now they end up losing a ton of money, having all these supplies that aren't needed, and basically the hospital administrator said like we may have to lay a bunch of people off and all that. And he's like, I'm glad we prepared because it still might happen, but because it doesn't happen, also people are kind of annoyed. Also, like it goes both ways.
Oh yeah, people are always going to be annoyed either way. It doesn't.
Yeah, there's no like people are always going to be a little annoyed about it.
It's always better to over prepare.
So tell me, COVID. You find COVID starts leveling off, and you're ready to go outside. You're ready to go do something like rejoin society. What are you guys going to do? Because I can tell you what a great activity to do. Do you guys want to know my activity?
Sure.
So what you should do, social distancing is like COVID's over. You finally go outside. What you do? You go shoot up a mall.
America's back, baby.
America is fucking back.
I put that on Twitter. I said, I don't believe, call me old fashioned, but I don't believe that America will officially be open until there's a mass shooting. I put that yesterday morning.
3 injured in mall shooting in Arizona. America's like, fuck yeah, we're ready to go shoot people indiscriminately because we got guns and we don't need the social distance anymore. We beat Corona. Now we're going to kill random strangers.
People who listen from other countries are probably just like, are you making this stuff up or is this really happening? Like,
I tweeted that at 9:54 yesterday morning. Maybe I'm old-fashioned, but I won't consider America being reopened until there's a mass shooting.
There's another story, in Utah, they won't name the business, the company that did this, but they called their employees and said everyone has to come back to work now. I know the state's not locked, the lockdown's not over, but we're going back to work. One of the employees said, I have coronavirus. And they said, it doesn't matter. Come to work. Half of the employees now have coronavirus.
Oh, my God.
See, one of the unintended consequences of like this, like reopening and sending people back to work and stuff is that there's going to be a huge swell of like peer pressure / bullying amongst coworkers to be like, if somebody doesn't feel comfortable going back to work, like all the other coworkers would be like, well, what the fuck? I'm back. Why aren't you back? Mm-hmm. Like, why don't you come back? Why are you a pussy?
Yeah.
So there's going to be a ton of that. And people who aren't going to want to go back for their own safety or because they have health issues and they don't want to go, whatever, they're going to go back and they're going to get sick. because it is like, you can't be a pussy kind of culture that Trump started. Not just Trump, but I mean like that whole like, there's going to be a lot of there's that in my office already.
I was like, Brian, your office didn't even shut down. So you like work in like Trump. Is your company owned by Trump?
No, but we had this happen this week. They've given, since the week before Easter, our receptionist has been off Fridays and Mondays.
Wasn't she the one that called out sick and you guys were like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
She's faking it.
Yeah. She's always out sick. So they've given her Fridays and Mondays off. And I think with pay. I can't confirm this, but which pisses me off because like, all right, so whatever. So anyways, so this other girl who sits up in the front next to where the reception is has to do all the receptionist stuff, like open the mail and the phones and all this stuff. And on Mondays, it's always crazy. So last Monday, she was, trying to do everything and she was just overwhelmed. And she went to, the bosses and were like, we have to have her come back because it's just too much for me to handle up here. So so the next day when our receptionist came in, they said, we need to start working Mondays again. She was like, okay. And then this Monday, she didn't come in. And they called her, and she's like, I'm not coming in.
Again, she does not have the coronavirus. We've confirmed that, okay.
And so I haven't. Now I'm hearing all like third-hand information, but she was like, I don't feel comfortable coming in. It's like, well then,
she
but you feel comfortable coming in Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
What?
So it's all. So I think she's playing a game of chicken where she's trying to get him to fire her.
Can we cut to your conversation with your coworker?
I haven't talked to her. I've been ignoring her.
She's surprised. She's on the phone for you.
Oh, she is?
Hi. Ring, ring.
Yes.
Hi, Bri. I'm Ashley, your receptionist.
Oh. Yes, what can I do for you?
Oh, I've heard you talking trash about me on the air. Listen to me. Yeah. I do not feel safe in the office on Mondays. I should not have to come in and expose myself to coronavirus.
Well, it's nice that you feel that way because I've been busting my ass every day for 10 weeks now so that everybody in the office could get a paycheck. And maybe I'll just take a few days off and see if you still get a paycheck.
Okay, I'm glad you work really hard. But listen, some people are essential. And Bri, you're essential. I'm not essential on Mondays.
You're useless. Actually, you are essential on Mondays because you cost me 45 minutes of time every Monday by not being there.
I'll prove it. I'll prove it to you. On Mondays, I'm essential. Essentially not there.
Yeah.
Listen, I found that apparently 1 out of every 7 people that get sick with coronaviruses happens on a Monday. Oh. I don't want to be involved in that.
All right. Well, I'll see you Tuesday then.
Tuesday's fine. Tuesdays, okay. Wednesdays, and Thursdays, my soaps aren't on, and I cannot catch coronavirus.
Well, that's the other thing too. It's like it's not. She lives alone. She doesn't have any friends. So like, what the
How
fuck
do you know I have friends?
Oh, I know you have any friends.
My soaps are my friends. You're an asshole. I'm not gonna hang up, Bri.
But it's hard to justify people like taking time off when there's nothing to do.
What do you say? I have lots of valuable time. Do you know I have 6 cats?
Oh.
I'm gonna get a 7th. I'm gonna adopt.
You must have just got them because I didn't think you liked cats. You might have the wrong number.
So you guys, Jay, you've been cutting your own hair. What about you, Bri? You go for haircuts now, or can you? Or
no, they were just about to open salons and barbershops on Wednesday, in part of phase 1 of the Connecticut thing, and then on Monday they announced that the governor announced that they weren't going to allow them to open, push it back like 3 weeks. So I haven't got my haircut since like February. I look like I don't know what I look like, but
how do you feel about getting a haircut in like, so let's say everything's open, like are you gonna go to get an appointment? Are you gonna go right away?
Well, probably not, only because I expect my barber's gonna be so busy.
I agree with you that part, but forget the business. Let's say it's like, Bri, for you, 3 o'clock on Saturday, you're in.
I mean, I guess. I mean, I don't know. You're also dealing with somebody who wants to get corona, so.
Jay, if you had hair, Jay, would you go for a haircut?
No.
Like, do you feel there's any safety in the like they'll wear a mask, you'll wear a mask?
Like, I don't understand how you could cut my hair while I'm wearing a mask. It's
Well, it goes
Like,
around. What do you mean? The mask covers
well,
your
just
face.
around your ears and stuff. I don't know.
They can move it a little bit to cut your hair.
Yeah.
So would you, Brian? Let's say you're gonna get a haircut.
Okay.
Would you drive like 5 miles to get the haircut?
Like farther than I have to. My barber's like 2 miles away.
Yeah, I'm asking a question. 5 miles.
Am I going to somebody new?
I don't know. Your barber moved to a new location, Brian.
Oh, that's spontaneous of him. No,
Yeah,
I'm not going 5. I'm not going 5 miles.
Do you think it's weird that some guy drove 600 miles for a haircut?
Not in today's day and age. People are fucking morons.
This guy lives in Olympia, Washington, drove to Sacramento, California to get a haircut because he heard they were doing. He saw that his friend posted they were doing haircuts there, so he got in his car and drove for 2 fucking days. This 28-year-old asshole to get a haircut because it was so important.
People in other countries can't be this stupid.
I mean, holy fuck! How dumb do you have to be to like? Do I have to drive 600 fucking miles to get a? Why are you on the road trip, son? Officer, I need to get a haircut, and the haircut's 400 miles from where you stopped me. I need to go, officer. I need the speed.
Unreal.
On the other side, and I did have my wife cut part of my hair. Realized that but the clipper's a little too short, so I've not done the top of my hair yet. But I look kind of like an idiot right now. I started actually doing it myself. Realized doing the back of your hair, like I was just going through the sides to make them shorter. I realized doing your back of your head is kind of hard without a mirror, like 2 mirrors. And so I was like, look at the back of my head. And my wife started laughing, and she's like, I'm like, you need at some point today to like fix my hair.
I always put my phone in selfie mode, and I look in the mirror that way.
Yeah, well,
Our-
I'm not as smart as you.
Our email is thebrinkofsanity@gmail.com. Lorenzo writes, "Hey guys, I probably don't say this enough, but thanks again for the great podcast. It's friggin' amazing." Thank you, Lorenzo.
He's got the wrong email address, I think.
He's like, Dear Joe Rogan,
JRE at gmail.com.
Well, Lorenzo, thank you for the emails. We love your emails.
Please briefly answer the following questions. Answer one before proceeding to the next.
Oh boy.
1.
Do it.
What are your thoughts on anti-vaxxers?
They should all be killed.
I'm gonna go with they're fucking morons.
Yeah, morons.
2.
Morons. I don't think, again, not down to kill them like Bry, but I understand where Bry's coming from.
You have to see, the problem is you have to make an example out of these people.
2. Let's say you were single.
Do you want to live in Bry's America?
I do.
In case you guys can't tell, I lost my muster from earlier when I messaged you about the show being epic, but I'm really just done. I'm just
Bry
fried.
texted us earlier. He's like, I hope I can stay awake for tonight because tonight's show is going to be epic. I didn't ask him why it's going to be epic, but I assume Bry had all these rants. He was raring to go, and we get to the show, and Bry's like, I'm done.
I just can't take it anymore. I just can't take anything.
We
Every single fucking thing annoys me. Everyone in their opinions, and it's just even opinions I agree with just annoy me.
Bry, why did you stop drinking?
I just can't. If I drink, it just makes me feel like shit physically.
I said to Bry, like, don't start drinking before the show started because if anyone, Jay, how long ago was that? It was an episode of our show where we had drunken Bry.
It's like a year and a half ago.
That's it?
No, that was like, it must have been like
maybe
5 years ago.
No, it's probably 2 years ago.
No. How long ago do you think it was, Jay?
It was probably 2 years ago. Probably almost to the day.
Jay, any guesses?
I mean, I would have said 3, but Bri probably knows better. I have no sense of time. You're asking the wrong person.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like in theory, like I could have think it's years ago, and it could have been like a couple weeks ago. But yeah, Bri was for anyone who did not listen to the episode, which is pretty much everyone. Bri was a complete shit show on the episode. Like drunk Bri is fine and appreciated, but trash Bri, he made literally no sense, would let no one talk, and just rant. And Jay and I are like, okay.
I told you guys to just mute my microphone and just let me think I'm talking.
We're like, okay, cool, Bri. Moving on. I'm not done talking. Anyway, How about those goddamn squirrels?
So it was like doing a show with Mark.
Yes.
Number 2.
Two marks and one J.
We're still on this Lorenzo email. Number 2.
Yeah, I know.
Let's say you were single. Would you date/marry an anti-vaxxer?
No.
No. So Jay, did you say no?
I pre-read these questions and it's going somewhere. If you would let me get to it.
Okay.
Well, he said answer them one at a time.
Yeah,
I'm going to ask you another question.
It
Would you
didn't say
marry-
like a 10-minute segue in between each question.
Would you marry someone that was politically opposite from you? So you are pretty liberal. Would you marry someone that was pretty conservative Republican?
If they're reasonable and like could express opinions and like
Yeah, no, I'm not saying
justify
like
their
it's like you're
answers.
gonna marry like Alex Jones. I'm just saying like someone like they're reasonable. They just have very different political views than you. Like they think they're like, I understand he sends these ridiculous tweets, but I still think Trump overall doing a good job. Would you marry that person?
if they could justify it and they were and if say they were proven wrong, they would admit they were wrong.
Okay, but at the same time, there's no way you'd marry someone who could justify the Vaxxer thing.
Probably not. No.
Brian, what about you? Would you marry someone who's politically like opposite of you?
Yeah, I don't think that would be a deal breaker.
But the anti-vaxxer thing would be a deal breaker.
Yeah, because it's just, I mean, yeah.
Would you rather marry an anti-vaxxer or a flat earther?
Oh,
Got to choose one, Bri. They're both your perfect soulmate, except for
I
this
could,
one flaw.
I think I think a flat earther because I'll just take them around the world and be like, look, we went around the world. It's not fucking flat.
Says you. I think this whole flight was a goddamn conspiracy.
You know, they would just say we
Anyways.
went in a circle, but you couldn't tell.
On to
Yeah.
question 3.
Okay, go to question 3. I am going to sidetrack question 3 also, but go on, Jay.
I feel like for me and Bri, we do the show too late, but for Mark, I feel like it's too early. You're still so amped
Yeah.
up.
I don't know. My kids are finally asleep. I could finally whatever.
We should
I'm
do the
kinda-
show like the way bands like record songs. Like we'll just each do our own tracks and then merge them into one.
like Arrested Development, when they tried to release the show without any of the characters interacting with each other.
Yeah, exactly.
The worst fucking season. Have they done another season of Arrested Development?
They did a 5th, and I did not watch it.
Do you know if the characters were interacting in that season?
I
or was
think
it the
they
same
were.
Shit?
I think they were, but I was so season 4 left such a bad taste in my mouth. I was done with the show.
'Cause I loved the first 3, and then the 4 was so bad, and I was like, is 5 gonna be? Is there a chance 5's good, like worth watching?
Before we get to part 3 of his question, let's break down every episode of the rest of the development.
Let's do a whole TV retrospective. Go on. Jack.
Let's rank them all. Number 3. What if you married and had kids with a woman, then she transitioned to an anti-vaxxer after a while? What would you do? This is the boat I'm in. There's a long backstory which I won't bore you
Wow.
with.
Go on.
My wife, who is an anti-vaxxer and a nurse, was speaking to her mother,
Nurse.
who was
She's
also an anti-vaxxer, and this was the gist of it. Those damn vaxxers, they were talking about blah, blah, blah. I thought that was hilarious, as we normally hear it the other way around. So that email took a turn.
that took a turn.
Yeah.
So I just to answer the question he asked before we move on to his actual real situation, if I married someone and had kids with them, and then they did end up having a absurdist view, I would not divorce them or leave them or anything for that view. But I feel like what I want to ask Lorenzo, if he can address in his email next, is that you have kids. Did your kids get vaccinated? Because that's actually that would be really where the fight would start.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I
'Cause
thought Lorenzo was going to call in one of these days, too. What happened to that?
Oh, I'd love to. Lorenzo, we'll go out of our way to do the show at a time that makes sense for you. If you can call, we want to call in. But because if his kids have been vaccinated already, and then she's an anti-vaxxer, you'd be really annoyed at that viewpoint. But it's kind of
Too
at
late.
least it's
Yeah.
like a lot of it's like a moot point with your kids at least.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, when she says like I'm not going to let my kids have the coronavirus vaccine, you might have a fight. But if it's also your kids are born and she's like, I don't want to give them the polio vaccine, that seems like a pretty big fight that might end the marriage.
I mean, if they had kids, they got vaccinated, none of them ended up with autism, and then she became an anti-vaxxer, he kind of proved his own point. He's just like, well, you're wrong because our kids are fine.
I mean, Lorenzo and his wife probably were vaccinated also, though I guess her mom's not a vax. Like, Lorenzo could just say, I'm fine. I'm not autistic. I got vaccinated. So is everyone you know. They've all gotten vaccinated. So what's the problem? Lorenzo, could you fill us in a little bit for next show on how she became an anti-vaxxer? Because I'd love to know, especially because she's a nurse. Like, she's into, like, science.
Lorenzo, if you could write like a 3-hour essay for us to read next time, we'll pretend we're Joe Rogan and we'll get to the bottom of this.
Lorenzo's like, okay, hour 3. I'm getting there eventually.
Right in the middle of the turn of her turning anti-vax, she'll be like, wait, does she like CBD?
Lorenzo, would you
Why
rather...
don't we should have him and his wife on, and we could maybe like mediate the situation.
Holy shit, that'd be amazing. Lorenzo, what would be worse for you? Your wife becomes an anti-vax.
You know he can't answer, right?
I know that. He can answer an email form for next show. Your wife becoming an anti-vaxxer and refusing to vaccinate your kids, and your kids are so important to you, or your wife deciding to transition and become a man.
All right, we got another email.
I'm just saying both are different. You just okay.
As we joke about this, I really hope that like he didn't have like a bad thing with his kid where his kid got vaccinated and something bad happened. But
what if instead of like him becoming autistic, he just had like some quality she was annoyed about? You know, Billy's not good at sports because of the vaccinations. He went through like a pussy if he didn't get the vaccination.
Lorenzo's kid got vaccinated and became a CPA.
Lorenzo's a CPA.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
His signature line has CPA in it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Could you, Lorenzo, next show, could you explain how you get a CPA and then get a job?
Lorenzo
and
writes.
have a wife and kids.
Probably a house too. Lorenzo writes. Hair. I've been scanning all my old pictures. There's so much hair in them. I'm so jealous of my prior self. He writes, this one is for Jay. What are your thoughts on the Fallout series for PS4?
You really had to move on to this question, Jay?
I mean, we got to answer all the questions.
He's been waiting all week for this question.
He's like, oh yeah, Fallout City. I'm going to fucking rock this question. And Mark has nothing to say because he has no idea what you're talking about.
Well, you sure found out something to say.
Jay, I am going to buy a PS4 this weekend. Anything I should know?
You're going to need a second controller.
Okay.
You're going to need to subscribe to PS Plus so your son can play online.
Okay. Do I need to get a separate charger for the controller?
No, it comes with like a USB wire that you can just plug into the actual PlayStation.
Is there also a PlayStation? There's a more souped up PS4 that has more like storage. This
is the PS Pro, but if you don't have a 4K TV, you don't need it.
Okay, so I was given advice by a 9-year-old boy who told me that we need to get the PS Pro and need to get a charger for the controller. Like a separate charger.
Both false. If you don't have a 4K TV, the regular PS is fine, and it comes with a terabyte of storage. And I have.
What is 4K?
It's the like the new HD.
Yeah, it's like twice as good as HD.
So we do have a 4K. The latest TV we have is a 4K TV, but do I care?
It's slightly better, but I really don't think you're going to notice that much. I really don't.
How much more are we going to pay to get like this extra? It's going to be a lot more money.
I think it's like an extra $100.
Oh, fuck that.
You're not going to notice, honestly.
Where should I buy it from?
I would say just look up PS4 bundle and see what kind of bundles they have, because they always attach. The older system gets, the more games they attach to it. And
am I going to look on Amazon or
GameStop?
GameStop?
Amazon, Best Buy, and GameStop, and see which ones have the best bundles.
And what's like a good bundle? Like, what would be a good deal?
So, right now there is on Amazon. They have a PS4. Oh yeah, this is the one you're getting. PS4 Slim. It comes with The Last of Us, God of War, and Horizon Zero Dawn. Those are like the 3 best games for the system.
Okay.
So, yeah, get that. And your son cannot play Last of Us.
Why? What's Last of Us?
It's scary.
Okay.
Scary.
I wanted to get what's the basketball game they had? The 2K.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like a? How do I buy it on there also, or do I download it, or how does that work?
Any game that's out, you can buy digital now.
Okay. And how much do I expect to pay for that game?
Well, be sneaky and buy 2K20 because 2K21 is about to come out, so you can get 2K20 for like $10.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. I mean, my son's not gonna really give a shit.
Right.
Send me the link, the Slim thing, and I'll just buy that.
Okay.
I'll buy that. Okay. Answer the question about the Fallout Boy.
I have actually only played Fallout 3, and I only played the first like hour and a half of it, so I really don't have much of an opinion on it. I didn't even get out of the Fallout shelter in Fallout 3, so
that was the most disappointing.
I know.
Video game topic ever by Jack.
And he wrote, if you or any listeners are on Fallout 76 online, yell out and we could team up. So, yeah.
Hey.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys heard about Elon Musk's son?
No.
He's got a weird name.
His name. Would you want to be Elon Musk's son? Just generally speaking, would you like your dad is insanely rich? Would that be? He's also insanely weird, but would that be?
He's just insane.
Yeah. Would you be up for being his son?
I mean, I don't know anything about him. If you're just going off the fact that he's insanely rich, I mean, that's cool. But
yeah.
I mean, the crazy part's probably not great.
Okay, but he's not like crazy as he's going to hurt you. He's just like a weird dude.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got hundreds of. You're probably going to live a better life. I'm going to guess that like he'll find you a job as a CPA since he's got like $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
But your name has to be. Have you heard the name yet?
No.
I saw it. I forgot what it is. It's like AE11.
It's
pound sign.
It's XAE, which is like the Aeon Flux symbol, and A-12. That's the name. XAE A12. That's the fucking name. Is that child abuse?
Yeah. That's ridiculous.
He said the name is pronounced as X-A12.
Is he gender fluid?
When you're older, you're like, hey, what's your name? My name is my dad's fucking retard. That's my fucking name. Speaking of retard, what do you say instead of retard if you want to be politically correct? Not what you call someone who's retarded, but if you want to just use retard the way you'd use it like in slang, what do you say instead?
I don't know.
Why don't if you're going to take a word out of our slang, you have to give us a different word. Like I understand retard is not a nice word to use, but what word should we use?
Right. Yeah, that's a good question.
Dolt.
Yeah.
Dolt's a funny one.
A lot of words like we used to say like it is offensive to use the word fag, but when you were a kid, you used that word, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to remove fag, totally fine. I think it's an offensive word. I totally understand that, but give us a different word. Where are the people giving us different words to say?
I think everything's been banned now.
It's fucked up.
The PC police ruined everything.
I need words to insult people.
Speaking of politically correct, I learned the other day.
What?
You're not supposed to say committed suicide. You're supposed to say died by suicide. Is that like the dumbest thing you've ever heard? Yeah.
Why are you not supposed to say committed suicide? First of all, anyone who's committed suicide will not be offended when you use it because they're not gonna.
Yeah, it's like shame. They're making it like a negative thing or something. I don't know. I saw something on Twitter and they said it's somebody like reamed somebody out. Like there's an article about something and it was about somebody committing suicide and all the comments are reaming the person out saying you're not supposed to say that because it's invoke shame or negative attention or something like that.
You know, actually, interesting just about that is that I've seen people say died by suicide, and I always thought that was a weird way of expressing it because I was like, I understand like a coroner like putting cause of death died by suicide,
yeah,
but generally speaking, die by suicide makes it sound like someone else did it to him.
Yeah, which is the opposite of what suicide is.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, you committed. I understand they're saying that it's not their fault because they had mental illness that led to this, and I respect that. But they still did it. What the? How politically correct?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like idiotic how politically correct you become.
Yeah.
Jay, will you? Jay, just after your neighbors.
I went to jail for performing murder instead of committing murder.
I was gonna say, Jay, tonight when your neighbors have a 4 a.m. concert, will you commit suicide or die by suicide?
Pa writes.
I thought that was strange.
Yeah.
Hi guys, question for Jay.
Another one?
Sorry, Mark,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to be quiet for like 30 seconds.
Another fucking video game question.
No. Jay, assuming you aren't a casual, what are your thoughts on the potential fight between John Jones and Francis Ngannou?
God.
They have been
What
chirping.
are you even talking about?
This is UFC. They have been chirping on social media, and Jones says he wants to fight. I think Francis would KO him in 1 minute. Fuck John Jones.
Isn't John Jones the guy that gets suspended like every day before his fight for drugs?
Yeah. I think he's got an insane record, but he's got a lot of controversy behind that record.
The only time I ever hear his name is him getting suspended for steroids or drugs, like the night before his fight.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with Francis. I'm really behind on UFC. So sorry, I can't really answer that one. Somebody was uploading all the UFCs from 1 on, and I was up to like 25, and then the channel got banned, and pretty upset about that because I was really enjoying that.
So we actually have just to move on from that. We have you have the email from Peter, and we have a bunch of actually Facebook questions.
Oh, you're trying to move the show on?
I'm just thinking that I just want to get through all the questions.
I get one question, and Mark is in a rush now.
You had 2 actually.
You had 2, Jay. Come on, don't hog the show.
Mark's like worst episode ever. Jay got 2 minutes.
Peter writes, really fun show last week. Always miss Bry, but Lauren was great guest. I was wondering if you guys had thoughts on these 2 interesting news items. And Peter has been a friend of the show, been on the show. But first one was man in the UK sentenced to death. Sorry, there's a UK story from the BBC in the UK, but the story's from Singapore. Man sentenced to death in Singapore via Zoom. Is there any problem that you have to sentence someone to death via social distancing?
Wait, what happened?
Yeah, could you say that in English?
A man was sentenced to death in Singapore via Zoom.
Well, he's lucky he even got sentenced to death instead of just getting killed.
So apparently a judge has been sentencing people to via Zoom because of social distancing and things being locked down. And just a Zoom call was like where he heard he's going to die.
So what?
Yeah, so what? The stupidest, most hypocritical Zoom legal thing that's ever happened was the Wisconsin Supreme Court heard oral arguments over Zoom about whether the governor's act to shut the state down was constitutional or unconstitutional, and the Supreme Court over Zoom ruled that it was unconstitutional and that people could didn't have to social distance. I mean,
so what's the complaint? That they're going to kill him, but they didn't tell him they were going to kill him nicely enough?
they didn't tell him in person.
I guess yes, that was the basic complaint. The other thing is apparently it's for drug trafficking. It's not even for murder. That seems a little bit.
What, you can't kill somebody for drug trafficking?
Not in the U.S. No.
Well, it's not the U.S. It's Singapore. Isn't that where the guy got caned? Singapore?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fucking retarded country.
Yeah.
The next topic
You know what? It's probably not a retarded country because they probably don't have fucking idiots shooting each other in the streets every day.
Yeah. They don't take no shit from morons.
In fact,
Like
we
we
should
do.
probably be more like that.
You're sentenced to go to a mall at a reasonable hour and just get shot by a random guy with a gun.
Right.
Great.
I you know what? I would rather penalties like that than you don't have fucking idiots all over the place.
Also, study shows 70% of consumers would rather watch new movies at home, and some of the big releases that have been released via home as opposed to the theater have done better via home release than they have done in the theater.
And again,
Like-
this comes down to everybody being completely obnoxious and nobody wants to be around anybody anymore. The last couple
Yeah.
times I went to the movies, it was people yelling and talking and kicking seats, and it's like fucking animals. Nobody can just sit there and watch. So yeah, I'd rather be home too.
Apparently, the new Trolls movie crushed the old Trolls movie that was released in the theaters. The new one did much better, just direct to consumer. I also think there's a bit of a novelty of like that. Like if they always did this, I feel like they wouldn't do quite as well.
I don't know. I think people are realizing how horrible other humans are, and
Yeah.
we're starting to see the results.
Yeah, because we just had 2 months of not being around other people, and it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Things aren't so bad when you're by yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so Facebook questions. Andrew writes, are you watching NASCAR to get your sports fix at the moment? NASCAR is back.
It's not a sport.
I put the first 5 minutes of the race on Sunday, and in like the fifth lap, there was a crash, and I was just like, all right, that's enough.
During the crash, did they like have to social distance while they were rescuing him?
I turned it off like right after that. I was just like, what am I doing?
Yeah, I'm not hungry enough for sports to watch people drive around in circles.
I keep saying I'm fine with no sports. I don't even care that they're not going on.
I would like sports. Jay, what about you?
NASCAR? No. Does that even count as a sport?
The only way I would want sports back is if it's the NBA, just so I could see Kawhi Leonard have 3 months off and then still play every other game. That's the only thing I want to see.
Paul writes, top 3 reasons to not vote Trump.
Top 3 reasons to not vote Trump. He has proven he handles pressure horribly. He won't admit when he's wrong.
Yeah.
And he raised my taxes, so fuck him.
So if he cut your taxes, would you be overlook the first 2?
No, I'd probably still come up with a third one, like removing every single environmental regulation. So
he's killing the environment. He's getting criminal. He's running a criminal enterprise out of the White House.
He still does not have a national strategy for how to deal with coronavirus.
He still doesn't. The whole mask thing was insane.
Let's not do too much Trump. He also has another question about Trump. Paul writes, what do you think of Trump taking hydrochloroquine, the malaria drug? Because if you didn't see, he announced he's preemptively, or maybe he has the coronavirus. Who the fuck knows? He's preemptively taking hydrochloroquine. What do you guys think about it?
Yeah, he told somebody he's coming off of it this week. Like, who's giving him advice on when to go on and off?
Because he's invested in the company that makes it. And he knows his people are stupid enough that if he does something, they'll do something. So even if he's not doing it and he says it, all of his fucking moron followers are going to go out and demand to get this drug so that he's going to make money off it. And half these people are going to die.
So generally speaking, it's an anti-malaria drug that's mostly safe to take. Doesn't make sense to take if you don't have coronavirus or malaria, I guess. But I think they were saying that the study where they said the heart issues was an overblown study. It's not that. It's just not that effective with coronavirus.
I mean, every day he just further proves my point that he just doesn't want to be president. He wants out, and nobody is understanding that.
I do agree with that. I was just listening to a scientist talk about how now it's hard to study the drug and find out just how effective it is because Trump has now made it like a controversial issue. Andrew writes, how are Marc's aunts dealing with the virus? I have to say,
and your uncles.
Yeah, I have not seen too many. I have not seen too many. My uncle, by the way, seems totally fine. He's fully recovered.
Oh, good. He had it? Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought maybe you were referencing because you said uncles. My uncle had the coronavirus. He seems to be totally fine now.
No, I was just doing aunts and uncles.
Yeah. That's but anyway, I think the coronavirus might be killing off my aunts because I'm not really seeing any of them, and so I might be willing to take more coronavirus, just not to have aunts. I'm not sure. Paul writes, have you been but Jay, has the coronavirus been killing off your black mold?
I haven't seen more of it.
Okay, so maybe there's some benefits to this.
You haven't seen less of it though.
Paul writes, have you been watching The Last Dance on Netflix?
Well, we just had a 25-minute conversation about it before the show started.
And then we hit record.
The short answer is yes, we are.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah. I didn't know it was on Netflix. Maybe it's I don't know. We're watching it via it's on ABC. It's on network television here. Oh no, it's not on ABC. It's on ABC or it's on ESPN.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Maybe it's ESPN. I've been recording it, but I before the show, our general just we all liked it, And we were just saying how it's just so unfathomable why Jerry Krause broke up the team.
Yeah.
Andrew writes, Jay, you should send your drone out to get your groceries for you.
How
Not
would
a
I
bad
pay?
idea.
Let's tape my credit card to the bottom and have somebody scan it.
Sum up, Paul also writes, sum up 2020 so far. If you had to put 2020 into one word, what would that word be?
Boring.
There's a
nothing to do.
the giant pandemic. Boring.
There's
What
nothing
else
to
you
do.
got? Andrew put a symbol of a poop symbol, which I think kind of sums it up for me.
It's kind of like having 9/11 every day.
And then Andrew posted something about mask hating Karen, which you'd have to play, Jay, because I can't play something.
Yeah, it's basically a crazy lady who showed up to a supermarket and she's yelling at everybody wearing a mask and taking pictures of all the must-wear masks to get in signs and just being a horrible human being. And
I don't understand the Karen thing. That's like a thing. Like it's like okay, boomer now. Like if somebody's hysterical, you call them Karen.
yeah,
Oh, is that a thing?
yeah.
Yeah, apparently.
I just assumed her name was Karen.
No, that's like if you complain and ask for a manager or you complain about something, you're called a Karen.
Yeah.
Where's that from?
I don't know. I guess too many people named Karen complained and they just now that's everybody is Karen.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like a soccer mom type like generic name.
Yeah, I think that's basically what it is.
Yeah.
Where did Karen come from? Karen and the cat meme come from? Is that related?
I don't know.
Okay. We also have questions from a longtime listener who has not written us for a while, Liam. Liam's back.
Oh.
Liam writes, hello, Mark and Jay. Long time, no talk. Anyway, here are my questions for the show. What happened to superfan Steven?
We don't know. We think he might be dead.
Or that he may be Liam.
Or, yes. One of those two. He's either dead or he's Liam.
If Steven is out there and still listening and wants to participate in the show, we'd love to have you participate and write questions, whatever. Come on, call. Liam writes, how does Jason feel about his immune system being very weak due to him being at home for a very long time? As soon as our lockdown is over, his body will have to face all the germs and viruses of the outside crowded New York.
It's a pleasure having you write back to us.
I didn't know that your immune system was weakened by being home.
I didn't either.
I guess he's saying that if you're not out, your immune system doesn't it atrophies when it's not out. Like it's not working out anymore.
I get what he's going for. I get it.
It sounds like he's calling you a pussy. That's what it sounds like.
It's just his white blood cells he's calling pussies.
Oh, okay.
Liam writes, how does Mark and Jay feel about our unemployment numbers and how now that companies see working from home can work, they will now later seek to hire people from India instead of paying Jason a salary?
Everything's out to get me.
I mean, Liam really came back just to try to make Jay feel bad.
Yeah.
Shots fired.
Yeah, seriously.
I mean, he's yet to take a shot at me. It's really just mostly so unemployment numbers are at almost 39 million people have lost their jobs since this started. That's a lot of people.
It's a lot.
Yep.
Right? How do you feel about that,
That's a lot of people.
Jay?
38 million of them are probably accountants. I'm doomed.
And Jay, do you think someone from India will take your job?
No.
Liam writes, how is Jason's stock market account doing? And Mark as well. I know Mark likes to invest in index funds, which have been raped in value. And I know Jason has stocks in cannabis, which have been destroyed in pretty much everything, especially real estate stocks and airline stocks. Only winners financially during this pandemic has been tech. By the way, how is the crypto?
Well, my shitty job made me sell all of my stocks, so
You should thank them.
I did not take the hit on the cannabis stocks.
And you think work hates Jay.
Well, they
Work
did
helps
because
Jay
I had
avoid-
a bunch of AMD stocks, so I lost a lot of money on that.
Oh, that's been crushing it, right?
Yeah, I had it at like $1 or something like that.
Isn't it at like $50 now?
Yeah,
Okay, so there goes your retirement.
yeah.
My index funds are all down by a lot, but they've rebounded, and I'm sure they'll go down again. And I I have no fucking clue how to invest. So, Jay, how's crypto going?
It's been about the same.
What world event will get crypto to actually do something?
I know
But-
it's basically been stagnant for this whole time.
I mean, you would have thought like the destruction of humanity by the pandemic would have at least helped like a non-fiat currency.
Yeah.
I think once they out all the pedophiles and all those right-wing conspiracies, that'll kill the cryptocurrency market.
Speaking of pedophiles, we have a March Madness for our show.
Oh, we
Say
have,
the finals.
yeah, we have two more questions.
Oh, okay.
Twitter.
Oh,
QR5 writes, Jay, can you give us some insight to how bad the situation is in New York hospitals? When you look at the numbers, the whole pandemic does not look that bad as the media say, but it is. Media says it is, but then doctors and nurses are saying it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
so I think we're up to by 95,000 deaths in America. It seems like a lot. Like we'll be 100,000 by June. We'll be over 100,000 by June 1st. So like, that sounds pretty bad. What your girlfriend, who's a nurse, who's in the hospital? What has she said about everything?
It was really, really bad until like a week ago, and it's starting to slow down. But then, like we said, with the weather, it might go back up. But it was not exaggerated. at all.
As an essential worker and a hero to America, your girlfriend, has America done anything at all to thank her financially or anything besides saying, you're a hero, now go fuck yourself?
A little bit. I mean,
Hello. Oh, cool.
her hospital gave a little bit. Other hospitals gave like 10 times as much. So
I actually have a question. This is a little more serious question for. So I saw an article actually before we were going to record the show like earlier today about how they were basically saying Asian nurses have been facing Asian nurses and Asian doctors like saving people at the same time facing a lot of basically racism from people who are like, you caused this. And they had all these examples of people who are like I'm helping people, and then people are like shouting like crazy people are like shouting shit at me.
People wouldn't do that, would they?
So has she had any patient? This was like they're talking about like not even like on the street or something like that, but like they're the doctor in the hospital, and some guy was like just like screaming at her basically because saying, "Why did you do this to America?" And she's like, "I'm here saving lives. What the fuck are you talking about?"
Sir, this is a Wendy's.
So has and basically has your girlfriend had any incidents where someone's been like mean to her basically because they're just a racist asshole who assumes that like every Asian person apparently like inflicted this upon us?
thankfully not yet. No.
Okay. Good. Well, that was tonight's bright moment.
But yeah, it is bad. I mean, they had so many corpses. They had the whole staff who normally does not bring corpses to the freezer. They had to take shifts doing that. There was such a backlog. So it's a lot. Anyway, Ratsonin writes, what's Jay's thoughts on glam rock?
Glam rock. Is that 1980s rock?
Yeah, it's like Poison, Motley Crue, stuff like that. I mean, I like the music a lot. The style is a little ridiculous. I wasn't all into the whole makeup and outfits and stuff, but I like a lot of the music.
I mean, it's also, you look back on it, like anything you look back on looks a little bit ridiculous, like when you look back on it. Like in the sense of, like, I remember like watching, like, you watched, like, I thought Saved by the Bell when I was a kid. I thought that was so cool. But then if you watch the show now, you're like, they all were dressed like kind of weirdly also. They had weird haircuts. Like not to know when they had those big hair. So at the time, probably glam rock looked kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jay, are there any current thing, like popular culture things that I do not know? We were going to do that bit. Remember we had that bit where you're going to tell me about something, you're going to ask me something about popular culture and
you don't know anything.
Yeah.
Pick something. Do you have anything in mind that you could just pick out right now that I may not know? Because when you asked glam rock, I was like, is this something I'm not aware of? Like, I was like, is it the 1980s or is it like something new that I just haven't, a trend I haven't caught?
I don't know. Have you heard of TikTok?
Yeah, I've heard of TikTok.
Okay.
Is it? I thought like when TikTok came out, everybody said it was like a malware thing. It was like from China and like it gave access to your phone and stuff. And now it's like
it probably is.
like this huge like thing.
It's a Chinese company, though, right? Not that like that's a reason that it would be, but like that was the issue.
I remember when it came out, they're like, don't download it because like it gives the company like access to your whole phone and everything. And it was like malware or something.
It probably still is, and people just don't care anymore.
Well, yeah. So what is it? Is it like people dance on it? Is that what it is?
So originally it was something called Musical.ly, which I remember downloading, and it did seem kind of cool. But then then my kids weren't that into it, so I got rid of it, and then I never downloaded TikTok. But it's owned by a company called ByteDance, a Chinese company founded in 2012. Which just because the person's Chinese, they're a Chinese company, people are assuming that they're mining your data and using it to like destroy America or something.
Well, they probably are, but
yeah, I mean, who knows? It could be true. But apparently, you basically go on there and make your own music videos. I think.
I mean,
like you shoot like the music's on there, and you can like do a lot of cool like effects things, and people go make very elaborate things on there.
How exciting!
Isn't that
TikTok
the same
owners-
thing as that other app that we were using for a little bit? That was 10-second videos.
Vine.
No,
Vine,
but these are a little bit longer. I know what you're saying. The Vine.
Yeah.
TikTok currently, the owner's value exceeds $100 billion apparently.
Unbelievable.
That's a lot of money.
All right, let's wrap up the show. We're Brink
Are
of
you gonna-
Sanity 3 on Twitter if you want to do questions. We have to do the championship for the Brink bracket.
Okay, this is the end of the show. I'm ready to take it.
I was going to make an announcement last week, but I wasn't on, so it doesn't matter. But it's too late now anyway. But if my gambling had won, I was going to come clean and tell all my gambling stories.
But now you're not?
Right, because it didn't win.
Do you, Brian? Do you have good gambling? Not you don't have to do them today, but like maybe next show, can you do your gambling stories?
Oh no, we have to wait till next March for it to win.
All right, so we have number 2 CPA versus number 7 of Mark's obsession with pedophilia.
Is it over? Is the vote closed?
Yes.
Vote is over. I assume like this would be the equivalent of like the 96-97 Bulls against me, Bri, and Jay in a basketball game. That's what I assume what the results are. Because
I'm going CPA.
CPA did not win. Pedophilia crushed CPA, not because it's funnier, but because it's so funny to vote for pedophilia over CPA because it's pedophilia. And I know it. I bet pedophilia won like 90% of the votes.
The winner is Bry's gambling addiction. We get to hear the stories. We had 91% CPA.
Boom.
Oh, pedophilia lost?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Oh,
You're officially a CPA now.
congratulations to me. Oh, God, I'm so happy pedophilia did not win. Oh, God, that would have been awful. Oh, we had a whole thing. We took the best topic of the show. Anyway, pedophilia, my topic. Explain that to my kids would be really annoying.
I still can't believe it made it to the finals.
Mm.
Oh, my God. Well, it's a good, it's fun to have a trolling topic to make it to the finals. But congratulations, Jay. What are you going to do now that the CPA won the Brink of Sanity bracket? Was it worth the years of struggle to get your CPA so it could win this bracket?
Just to have people laugh at me about it? Yeah, that's...
Jay, I got news for you. We were laughing the whole time.
So I never thought when I started taking the CPA that it would be voted the funniest thing to happen on Brink.
Say that again, Jay. Just say it again, please.
When I signed up for the CPA, I never thought it would be voted the funniest thing to happen on Brink.
We need to cut that line. That'll be on. If we ever make a promo, that's going to be on our promo.
Yeah.
Holy shit. The perspective on that is amazing. The struggles we witnessed. Well, at least you can always hold on to being the champion of the Brink League.
Yeah, that's right. Not only are you a CPA, you're also the champion.
Oh, hold on, I'm updating my LinkedIn right now.
Bri, if you were interviewing a candidate and this was on their resume, would you think more highly of the candidate?
Absolutely.
It's resume builder, Jay. I bet a lot of recruiters will contact you tomorrow now that you're updating your LinkedIn profile.
CPA champion podcasts What's A? We need A.
Always.
Champion podcaster.
What are you trying to put?
I'm just trying to make make a word
Oh
out of
yeah,
it.
yeah, acronym. Champion podcast. Alpha.
Actually, think about it. CPA. C for CPA, P for pedophilia, and then A for
addiction, comma gambling.
Yeah, addiction. I was saying, Brian, could you be an alcoholic? But yeah, addiction. Yeah, you hit us all. There's Jay with the CPA. There's Mark with the pedophilia, and Brian's addicted.
Yeah, that's the order.
I was honestly going to start the Work Hates Jay podcast, and then I just had a vision of me getting a job and then finding out about the podcast and withdrawing their offer because they're afraid that I'm going to talk shit about their job too. Which, knowing my luck, would happen. So maybe I could pre-record them and put them on hold until I get a job.
Jay, we have a caller for you. Ring.
Hello, it's getting late.
Hi, I'm the particle traveling back in time.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen the future, and apparently you get this awesome job until they find out about Brink of Sanity.
When I started this podcast, I knew that was the inevitable outcome.
Just letting you know, it doesn't work out well. You may want to join me in going backwards because you've already lived your best years.
So if I delete all the
if
I delete all the podcasts, they're just going to find out about the public access show. So I think I'm doomed.
Come with me; it's a better journey, and I guarantee, at partway through our journey, you'll get your hair back. Come, Jay.
I miss my hair. All right, that's all we got for today. Thank you for listening, everybody. I'm really tired.
Bye, my love. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.